the legal age for children that are aged between 12 and 15 years to have sex with each other has actually been decriminalized. Now, a bill decriminalizing sex between consenting adolescents has been signed into law. Now, the charges to the legislation were adopted by the National Assembly in June. However, now Parliament had been ordered to amend the 2 sections that is of that bill, which now the Constitutional Court had been ruled invalid rather. And now Children Rights NGO RedCan was one of the applicants in this case, and has urged parents to build strong relationships with their children so that they can guide them through their life choices. And I think you would agree with me, wherever you are listening at home, that the rate, or the percentage statistics of young pupils or adolescents that have actually been pregnant lately has risen in a very short period of space, and rapidly in that matter. And on whether measures to curb that have been tried or not, that is something else. And you remember that the government wanted to even introduce condoms in primary schools to try and actually stop this rate that is going so up. But yeah, I do have Mr. MoAfrika Wa Maila right here in studio, and my team as well here. We're going to discuss this matter. We're going to discuss this quagmire tonight, and you are going to be a part of the biggest debate or interaction or discussion in Cape City.
Yes, my brother. Yeah, this is one of the issues.
Yeah, this is one of the challenges that we're facing 21 years down the line after democracy.
Yes, I will say one must understand that a democracy comes with both a blessing and a burden. And right now we are dealing with one of the things we can call a burden of democracy.
Yeah.
And we cannot really begin to hate our country and start being unpatriotic citizens. We need to remain to be patriotic as citizens of the Republic of South Africa. That's the first thing that I want to make a plea with. Even if we are having challenges, like I will tell you, this whole amendments to the I don't know if I should still continue to refer to them as minors or what, because
just before you go on, this other manager in the institution was actually speaking. We were speaking at a debate, among other things, and I think we touched on the fact that when students, learners come to university, we treat them as adults, and he said at one point they do all these funny behaviors. We have to think that they're children, and we are told that we need to address them as adults. I'm confused. What are they really? And when you're speaking about the fact that you are not sure whether to say they are minors or not, and it still raises, we are not even sure on where do they fall in, given so much power that they have.
Exactly. We need to really we need to really understand that this whole legal system thing, the changes of the law and everything that are brought in, they are creating undefined social structure. And I have to really delve into the law and say some of these laws, when they are really implemented, we must understand that they're implemented in the courtroom. Like right now we can implement our own rule in this studio, but the question is, when we get out of the studio, are we gonna really be able to practically implement this law? Because honestly speaking, we are having the law that says a 12 and a 16-year-old can have sex consensually, so, and that will not amount into a statutory rape. Then it makes it fine. The question is one, yes, we understand that currently, even if the law does not say so, such are active sexually. But the question I'm having is one, are they really of age and maturity to say now they are legally empowered to sexually engage?
Yeah, a very good question right there. And yes, you might be listening at home and and intrigued by this question as well. On 012-382-4936, do keep in touch with us. We are available, of course, on Facebook. We are Tshwane Space FM Space 93.6, and on Twitter it is, of course, at Tshwane FM. And yeah, do engage with us. And MoAfrika Wa Maila is available on Facebook as well. The topic is also on his page. And yes, we've seen some of your comments, and we'll be getting to them and checking what you guys are saying about this topic tonight. Yeah, as you are continuing. Okay, here's one call. Let's take this one before we actually move on. You're live on Tshwane. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm good, and how are you, sir?
Fine. Man, I would like to ask you, man.
A very good question indeed, and I think a lot of things have been said about the fact that today things are advanced, and back then things were not that advanced. So I think it's a very good question as well. And who are we speaking to from where exactly? Charlie in Mingley. Okay, Charlie.
Yes, Charlie, you are having a point right there, but we must understand that the social times have changed. The social structure have changed. Our kids currently, they are exposed to some of this information because of the media. They are on Facebook, they're on Twitter, Instagram, and they are having TV. At first, we used to only watch TV 1, 2, and 3, but now they've got all the channels. And some of them, we can't even log them because we are not educated at that level technologically. So we need to understand this. The exposure that they are having, it's good. But then the legal empowerment to engage into the actual act is questionable. They need to be educated, my brother.
Because I've seen, there is not a problem to tell a child when you are having a sex, use a condom. Already in everywhere, in Facebook, everywhere, everything.
I'm wondering if it can be difficult for us to educate our kids on sex and all the implications of it thereof, and still encourage them not to focus on such kind of activities and prioritize the most important one, being their personal development and education and advancing in life. I don't know if it's impossible, my brother.
They are even positive for that. 5 of them, maybe they are negative for that.
Wow. No, I.
Look, happens on Saturdays. Yeah, you could see that South Africa now is getting to the end now.
Now, if I may point it back to you, because I mean, you're an elder as well. I mean, you will be a father if you're not a father yet. And how do you think we can actually best possibly deal with these challenges that we are facing as a country?
Yeah, we can't stop this thing. It's already in, right? So it's like, you see, it's already in. We can't stop it. Just to talk.
So are you saying we should just give up?
I will not give up, Mara. It's already killing us, you see. It's the problem now.
Thank you so much for your... Thank you so much for the call. I don't know, MoAfrika, you wanted to say something?
Yes. Look, I will say this. We cannot say, let us give up, it's already in. Remember that all of us, we have a role and influence that we can play. And hearing my name that I'm MoAfrika, I believe in an African systems and social structures. I think it takes a village to raise a child. If all the parents, if all the elders, including Charlie, we were to all protest against some behavioral patterns in the community and the society, I believe we can advance our society in a better direction. All right, thanks, my brother. Thanks a lot for the call, brother Charlie.
Hola, Charlie. Sharp. I think this deserves a round of applause.
There was Pretoria, and it was dumb, man. But now there's 20 and 20 FM 93.6. A whole new name and a whole new ball game.
20 FM 93.6.
That guy, I couldn't hear you. 24 minutes, rather 42 minutes, so we are back into it. And in case you didn't know, we are available on Facebook. It is 20 Space FM Space 93.6. The topic we're speaking about the new law that was just passed to allow at least the pupils or the adolescents, minors that are between the ages 12 and 16 years old to engage in sexual activities. You know, when Charlie was speaking now, maybe we should give up and 1, 2, 3, so on. I remember I was attending a seminar and one speaker said, when you don't know the purpose of something, you tend to abuse it. And maybe the challenge today is that our youth or our adolescents do not know the purpose of themselves or their potential. Hence, they from time to time tend on actually abusing themselves. Because he made an example, Are, if you were to look at your girlfriend, high school or primary, some of them would even say, "Man, what was I doing? What's on abuse?"
Exactly.
It's one of those things, and a lot of challenges that are brought today. Remember, today we are against the ruling party. Of course, we're saying they must create jobs. They must. But let's think about it. they are taking our tax money to give all the families where you find that there's no father, but you find that there's children. And some of them, there is even teenagers who have children, and now the government has to feed them. So now, there's one other aspect that he said we need to decide what we want to feed. Do we want to feed the stomachs, or we want to feed the mind? Because now the bigger challenge is that we cannot have both. We need to decide on one. But hey, that is off the topic. 44 minutes into it, we are still speaking about the law that was passed. It's a very disturbing topic. I know, very sensitive as well. So do give us a call on 01238249936. On Facebook, it is 20 space FM space 93.6. On Twitter, it is at 20 FM. And I just want to, fuel it a bit and say, as a parent, think about when you were 12 years old, when you were 16 years old, and having been given this, freedom. How vulnerable would you have been, or how responsible would you have been? And think about your child. Think about that 12-year-old when she or leaves the house. Think about that person making a decision on whether to have sex or not, because they've got actually a right that allows them to actually do that. And give us that call on 01238249936. We are still at it. Africa, Ragena no.
Okay.
What you listening
to? You know this concept of Afrinians, the 21st century system. I think it's really a kind of conception to an extent, because you are what your mom wants. Believe me, you will think your mom is wrong until you have a child, and your child reaches your mom's
What's up? You're listening to the best.
Let's hit it, brother.
No, it's coming towards you.
The best.
Swahili FM 93.6.
I'm still at
And yes, on Facebook, we are getting back at it. We're checking your comments, and yeah, we've seen your comments right there, and we'll be getting to some of them. And yeah, MoAfrika.
Yes, my man. I want to say something here.
Yes.
You see, there is this deception that we're having socially, even in our families, that children of today are more advanced than the children of yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
But I will tell you the honest truth.
Yes.
There is nothing like that. A child is a child. Even a child in the 31st century, even a child in the 21st century and 19th century, we are still children. We might be having different exposures, like I spoke about all the social networks and so on and so forth, even the educational system.
Mm-hmm.
But the truth of the matter is one. A child will always be a child in one simple element. If right now you were to put some of these advantages, some of these privileges to a child, because of a failure to prioritize, they will abuse them. So if right now we put all these things accessible to our kids, the question is one, will they be able to manage them? Remember that there is this statement that Montesquieu once spoke: a freedom without responsibility is laissez-faire. Now South African democracy is getting to a laissez-faire. I, as a social commentator, I'll criticize it to say we are now beginning to feed our children paraffin instead of water. And we pretend like this is a clean water. Because honestly speaking, at the rate at which we are going, we are entertaining the extremes of democracy.
Wow.
More than the limitations of it thereof. We are more interested in the freedom of speech, not the responsibility after speech.
I'm glad I'm not the one saying it, but I don't too much. So yeah, it's not me, it's MoAfrika Wa Maila right there. On Facebook, there's Genius De Villas, and I totally disagree with such a law. And it's clear that the government really want to destroy the future of this country. And why they can't introduce programs to teach young people ethics instead of legalizing the issue of sex at such an early age. And now this man is speaking from West City residence, the largest residence, I think, in the Tshwane University of Technology, right there. And yes, in a very short while, we'll be joined by, Parapule from Brothers for Life, and he will be giving us a perspective as well in terms of, their organizations, how do they view this rule. And after that, we're going to go back to MoAfrika to actually give us, in terms of law, on how can this be challenged to actually be reversed, because it isn't everyone who's actually agreeing with this law, but there is people who are against it, and in terms of actually following suit